Hey everyone, it's me. I want to give some insight on what you might go through, or what you might experience, or what you should be expected to face if you were raped at one point in your life, or molested, or dealt with any kind of sexual abuse, and you decide to, out of the blue, confront the person that violated you. I'm going to talk about my own personal experience. This is a video I put up months ago, but I had removed. But I want to tell you what happened in my situation is that I went and I found my rapist. I found his information on publicinfoservices.com. It gave me a list of, addresses, phone numbers, etc. And so I was sitting there one day, and one day I thought, well, I'm going to call him. I had already filed my rape charges. It took 30 years, filed my rape charges. Police were involved when it came to the local police department and the military police. They were all involved. And it came down to the fact that I had his information. And I thought to myself, one day out of the blue, I'm like, I'm just going to call him. So I didn't know anyone else who had done this. I went on YouTube, and there's a bunch of YouTube videos of people who have, confronted their assailants. And I thought, well, I can do this. But what's interesting is the phone number in the system was to this person. And I did the star 67 to block my number, and I decided to call. And it rang, and he picked up. And my anxiety was so high, I couldn't even speak. So I hung up the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, now what? What am I going to do? It's been 30 years. So what in the world? And so I called back, still had blocked my number, and he answered. He said, hi, this is S, and he said his first name. And I said, hi, this is Lori. Do you remember me? And he said, no. And I said, do you remember? And I stated my then fiance's name because they were best friends. And I said, do you remember? I'll call him Bob Smith or whatever. I said, do you remember Bob Smith? He goes, yeah, I know Bob Smith. And I'm like, well, I said I was engaged to Bob Smith. He said, well, Bob Smith was married to this woman. I'll call her Olivia or whatever. And I said, no, prior to that in the barracks. And he says, what barracks? And I said, HHC 9th Cav Brigade. And he says, no, I don't remember that. And I said, well, I was the girl that was engaged to Bob Smith. And my rapist hung up the phone. And I'm letting you know right now that, oh, and I thought, well, taken aback. He's not sure what to do. He's surprised, whatever the case was. And so I called back. I called back numerous times because I called back and I said, I know this is a shock. I just need to talk with you. I need information from you, whatever the case is. And I said, I'll call back in like 30 minutes. But then I did call back, and he wouldn't pick up the phone. Would not pick up the phone. Would not talk to me. Would not say he was sorry. He would not acknowledge anything. Couldn't even believe it. Could not believe it. There was no acknowledgement, no, yeah, and nothing. And then what he did, there was retribution, because he ended up, and he lives in Washington State, I live in Wisconsin. So he ended up filing harassment charges against me. And then, sometimes you have family members that you don't get along with. He reached out through my ex-fiance, Bob Smith, and Bob's ex-wife, because they're still all friends. He reached out to them, got my sister's phone number, and started talking to my sister. And started to get as much dirt on me that he could, because we ended up going to court for this notice of harassment that he filed against me. And he brought up in court that my family members, he had talked to my family members and they said I was crazy and he should watch out for me. But I'm letting you know right now, I can't even, my assailant took it one step further. He tried to get as much dirt on me. So when we went to court, I would look like I was crazy. Like he was innocent, I was crazy. And tried to flip a switch, turn the tables, whatever, but it didn't work. So I'm just letting you know that you can reach out and you can call your assailant if you have the phone number, but I'm letting you know right now, 9 times out of 10, you will never, ever, ever hear what you want to hear. Just like anyone who seeks out to harm other people, like you wish they would just apologize. Someone this heinous would never apologize, even though he's been convicted for another rape. Never apologize. So I'm not saying don't reach out. I'm just saying that you will never, ever, ever get an apology. They will never admit what they did. They will never fill in memories of that night that are blurry or unclear, or the why of it all. Why did you do this? They are never going to tell you. So I'm just letting you know that, do I regret reaching out? No, I don't regret it. It allows me the opportunity to use my experience to help other people. So I don't regret doing it. It was one of the absolute scariest things I've ever done in my life. And I have the video to prove it. I have the video of where when I called him, I had my phone on, my regular phone. And then I had that on speaker. And then I had an old cell phone that I was holding up and recording me talking with him and his voice coming through. I have all of that. So I'm just letting you know that chances are they're not going to admit what they did. Chances are you're not going to hear an apology. Chances are they're not going to fill in the missing, they're not going to make things clear for you. And they're never going to admit what they did, nor are they ever going to apologize. So best thing you can do is, even if you call, know that you're probably not going to get any answers. They're not going to admit it. They're not going to apologize. So best thing you can do is take your experience. You can go to therapy, get healing, talk to a therapist about it, join a group, support group. But most important, take that and learn that there are just people in this world who are ugly, mean, hateful, and disgusting. And although you can't stop other people from choosing to behave that way, you can choose to not be involved with them. If there's someone in your family who is unhealthy, rude, mean, cruel, your best bet is you can walk up to that person and say, why are you such an asshole? Or you can say, you know what, I choose for you not to be in my life, in my presence, whatever the case is. And if you know they're going to be at a party, just don't go to the party. Choose your friends wisely. Choose your family wisely. You have the right to choose whomever you want to have in your life. So take your experience, your trauma, and use it for the greater good in your own life so that you can have a fuller life. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Know that even if you confront your rapist, chances are you're not going to get the closure you need from them. So it's very important you work on getting closure for yourself in whatever way you have to, as long as you do it with kindness, compassion, facing your fears, dealing with that internal dialogue, etc., etc. So anyways, just want to talk about my experience. I hope this helps someone else. And just know one day, if you do all the work, someday it will help to alleviate some of what you're going through. So anyways, big hugs to you guys, and I'll be back. Bye.